Some buildings are just stone and mortar, right? But then there are others, the ones that are made of memory, of a mission, the very soul of a city. And today, that's what we're diving into. We're looking at Collège Saint-Marc in Alexandria, a place that is so much more than just a school. Let's get into it. This quote right here, it just perfectly sums up what makes St. Mark's so special. The idea is that your education starts the second you walk through the door, way before you even open a book. It's the building itself, the walls, the high ceilings, the whole vibe that starts to shape you. And that's really the core idea we're going to explore today. All right, so first things first, we've got to talk about the building itself. I mean, you just can't understand St. Mark without picturing this massive, incredible structure. It's perched right there on the Mediterranean coast. It seriously looks like it just grew right out of the landscape. Okay, look at these details. This is what's so cool. It's not just about looking impressive. Think about it. You're a student, and your classroom has ceilings that are over 6 meters high. 6 meters! And you're looking out at the sea. That whole Romano-Byzantine style, that wasn't just for looks. It was designed to make you feel like you're part of something huge, something timeless, connecting you to this deep history of knowledge. Even the little things like the symmetry give you a sense of order, and the open corridors, that was on purpose too. They wanted to build a community, to make it feel open and connected, not just a bunch of separate rooms. So the big question is, how on earth did a building like this even get made? Well, to get the answer, we have to jump back in time. The story actually starts with just a few really determined monks and a king with a big vision. It all started pretty small, back in 1847, with just a modest little school. But wow, did the demand take off. It grew so fast that, by the early 1900s, they were desperate for a bigger space. And that's where King Fuad I comes in. He grants them this amazing piece of land, right in the Chotby district. And get this, just 2 years after they laid the foundation stone, the king himself shows up for the grand opening. That tells you just how important this place was, right from the get-go. And this number, this just says it all. In its very first year, they had almost 1,300 students sign up. I mean, that's not a slow start, that's an explosion. It just goes to show you there was this huge, pent-up demand for exactly this kind of education in a city like Alexandria, which was just buzzing with life. And check out who those students were. I mean, look at this mix. Yeah, the majority were Egyptian, but the school was basically a perfect snapshot of cosmopolitan Alexandria back then. You had kids from all over the Mediterranean: Greeks, Italians, Maltese, French, you name it. They were all in the same classrooms, learning together. It was a total melting pot right from day one. Okay, so here's a really important idea to grasp. St. Mark was basically built from 2 different blueprints. You had the architectural one, for the actual building, but then you had this philosophical blueprint, a plan for the kind of human beings they wanted to create. And the magic is in how those 2 plans came together. Let's take a look. The design itself came from 3 major architects: Leo Azema, Max Edrei, and Jacques Hardy. And what made them so brilliant wasn't just that they designed a gorgeous building. No. Their real genius was that they managed to weave the whole educational philosophy of the Lasallian Brothers, those are the French monks who started it all, right into the bricks and mortar of the place. And what was that philosophy? Well, the first director, Frère Pierre Sébriand, laid it out perfectly at the opening. He said, "Our goal is to raise men of conscience, useful to the country and society." So you see, it was never just about getting good grades. The real mission was to build character, to shape good citizens who actually make a difference. And you can literally see this idea, this fusion of visions, carved right into the stone on the front of the building. I mean, it's all there. You've got the royal symbol for King Fuad, who gave them the land. You've got the Lion of St. Mark, the school's namesake. Then there's the Lasallian Star of Faith, which connects it to this whole global network of schools. And finally, the papal crown, showing its connection to the Vatican. It's like the whole story is told right there in symbols. So, okay, we've talked about the history and the philosophy that's literally carved into the walls, but what does that actually mean for a student there today? What's it really like to go to school inside this living monument? And that really is the key question, isn't it? What happens after the last bell rings? Because the learning doesn't just stop. In fact, you could say for a lot of the students, that's when a whole other kind of education kicks in. Every single day, hundreds of them stick around for all sorts of activities. I mean, the whole place just transforms into this buzzing hub of activity. You've got everything you can think of: scouting, theater, a photography club, sports like basketball and soccer. But what's really cool is the focus on community service. You have students volunteering to help out younger kids or working at a center for people with special needs. It all goes back to that original idea, right? Building that complete, well-rounded person. And then you've got the hidden gems. Get this, the school has its own natural history museum tucked away inside. I'm not kidding. Some of the stuff in there is over 150 years old. They've got this amazing collection of over 160 types of birds, and even, famously, a two-headed calf. It's just this incredible little window into both the natural world and the school's own amazing past. You know, the real test of any school is what its graduates go on to do, right? And when you look at St. Marc, for almost 100 years now, it has been turning out people who have shaped not just Egypt, but the world, in pretty much every field you can imagine. Let's just take a quick look. In diplomacy, for instance, you've got Dr. Ismat Abdelmajid. He's an alum who went on to become Egypt's foreign minister and then the Secretary General of the Arab League. A huge deal.
Then, in politics, there's Ibrahim Mahlab, who served as the Prime Minister of Egypt, another graduate from St. Marc.
And what about culture? Well, how about the legendary film star Rushdie Abaza, a true giant of Egyptian cinema? And believe me, this is just a tiny, tiny sample. The list of influential alumni goes on and on. And this one story just captures that feeling perfectly. When Dr. Abdelmajid, again a major world diplomat, came back for an anniversary, they say he actually shed a tear as he walked in. He was that proud. It just shows you that connection, it doesn't stop when you graduate. It's something you carry for life, and it's kept alive by this really strong alumni association that connects generations of students. So as we start to bring this all together, it's pretty clear we're not just talking about a regular school here, not even close. The founders called it a factory, but a very different kind of factory. That original mission, to be a factory for conscience and knowledge, is absolutely still alive and kicking. And it's evolved, too. Since 1986, the school has run this Century El Hayha, which helps individuals with special needs. So that whole philosophy of service isn't just a nice idea. It's something they actually do. At the end of the day, the goal is exactly the same as it was in 1928, to build a complete person. And I think that's really the main thing to take away from all this. The amazing building is the container, but the real heart of St. Marc, its true essence, is that powerful educational philosophy that's lived inside those walls for almost a century. It's all about integrity, service, and developing the whole person. Which kind of leaves you with a final question to think about, right? How many buildings out there are more than just stone and mortar? How many are the living memory of a whole city and even a nation? In a world that's always changing, places like Collège Saint-Marc, they're like anchors. They remind us that the most important things we can ever build aren't made of stone at all. They're the places dedicated to building better people.